Yeah, hello guys. Welcome to Photoshop. My name is Aru Photography, and today we'll be looking at how to work on your background to make it look real and also look neat. So this is our first video, and I'm using Photoshop 2020. Okay, 2020, yeah, and we'll be working on this image I took some time ago, picture of my client. Um, So like I said, this is Photoshop 2020, and this workspace you see right here has been customized already. So don't get confused. It's still Photoshop. So if you install this Photoshop first time, this is what you are gonna see, the default workspace like this. So I had to go in and then make some adjustments, and customize it to look the way I wanted it to look like, having more space and then making it Photoshop look, you know, nice. Alright, having said that, I'm going to dive straight in to today's class. And before we start, this picture here has been processed in Capture One. Yeah, if you want to also know how I process my image in Capture One, make sure you don't miss our master class, which will come shortly after this free class. Okay, so having said that, let's go straight in. We're gonna make this image you see here look like this. This one has been edited. Let me take off the frequency separation and the color grading and stuff. So this is what we are going to make this image look like. This is how the image is right now after processing Capture One, and after working on the background and color grading the background, this is what we're going to have. Even if we don't get it similar like this, we're going to have something similar. Alright, so guys, let's start. Hope you're ready. Okay, so once I have a picture in Photoshop, the first thing I do to every picture is to change the frame size by cropping the frame to Instagram size. So what you have to do is come to your crop tool, press C on your keyboard, come here, select 4:5. That's an Instagram size. So adjust the frame to look the way you want it. Think let's take this up a bit. Okay, I think that's okay. Click enter on your keyboard. So now you see these white borders here. It's as a result of this background layer. If we were to change it to black, this place will be black. But since we are using a black using the workspace is black, we are going to use white, so we have a clear view of where the picture stops. Okay, having done this, the next thing you do is to fill in this space with this color with the background, and not just filling it, to make sure it has the same dimension, the same perspectives. So I'm going to select this area. By the way, I'm using a rectangular marquee tool to select this. Whichever tool you use is fine. So select this, make sure some parts of the background is in the selection, like make sure this background is also part of the selection you're selecting, so you have something good. So now there are two ways in filling this area. The first is to use the normal fill. The second is to use fill adjustment layer. So now when you're using fill, if you're using fill for this Photoshop, if you click backspace, it will bring out the fill dialog box. If you want to go manually, come to edit, you see fill, or you press shift F5. So this is content away, color adaptation is checked, mode is normal, and opacity is 100. Don't change anything again. So just click OK and it will fill in this area. Now it's going to work pretty fine because this background is a simple background. It's not complicated with colors and all this stuff. It's different from the subject. That's the main point. The background color is different from the subject. So it will be very easy for Photoshop to fill in with that fill option. But if your background was not this simple, it was complicated, it was busy with colors and stuff like that, conflicting with the color of your subject. Now what you can do is the second option, which is the fill adjustments layer. Fill adjustments, content away fill. Okay, am I getting nervous? Alright, so content away fill. Click that and it will bring options you have for content away fill. So now you see this one is a bit professional, a bit complex, and though it's simple. Now what you need to understand is this selected area, Photoshop has automatically selected it because our option here is on auto selection. Yeah, for you to sample the area that you want to replace. Okay, so this is the area we want to pick colors from and dimension from and everything from to fill into this white layer, white area. So now Photoshop has done a great work already. If you look at this place, it has been corrected here, and you see this line is correct and everything is just correct, dimension is correct and everything. So now what we're going to do next after having this is to click enter and the work is done here. But if your background was very busy type, now it will be very difficult for Photoshop to know if this is the image or this is the background or whichever way. So that's why we have this option that you can also deselect your subject and make sure Photoshop gets to know. The reason why you're deselecting the subject is to tell Photoshop, hey Photoshop, this is not the background, this is the subject and this is the background. So wherever you paint in, Photoshop will assume that that is your background. So you're telling Photoshop what to do. So Photoshop is working with you. Alright, don't mind me. So click enter and then you're done with this particular side. So now having done this, now the difference is very clear from using fill. Like I said, if you're using fill, remember, make sure you're using it on a background that is very simple like this, so you won't waste your time having to undo and then go back to use this. Just understand, if you're using a background that is very busy and or the colors are similar to the color of your image or your subject, then you shouldn't use the normal fill. You should go for content away fill. When you're using content away fill, it also gives you a new layer is created when you're using content away fill for the particular area that has been filled. You see this area that we have the white. When you're using content away fill, Photoshop, after filling in that area, will make sure it creates another layer to put the replacement. Now that replacement will be on a different layer, while if you're using fill, the replacement will be on the same image without a new layer. So personally I so much use content away fill a lot. Sometimes I don't even check if it's possible to use the normal fill. I'm just going straight to using the content away fill. So those are two differences between fill and content away fill. So like I said, let's press Ctrl D to deselect. You come here, this is a new layer for the replaced side. If you're using fill, it will just be everything on this layer. So having this, our background looks very nice. It looks as if it was taken this way. So that's where we had the size here. Get. Alright, so now after doing this, make sure the next thing is flatten to make sure the image is one again. And once you're done with that, the next thing is selection of your subject. Now quickly before we start selecting the subject, excuse me, what you do is, while selecting, make sure your selection is done very well. Like, you follow the borders of the image. Don't get into the image or keep space and stuff like that. Make sure you select the subject very well and be careful about it, because whatever you do at that point is going to affect your image throughout. And after doing the selection, you're going to save it and make sure you can actually use the selection if you need to again. So we're going to select the subject. I'm going to use my subject selection tool, which is this, or you can come here and press select subject. It will do the same thing. But if I'm choosing this, I'm going to tell Photoshop the area where the subject is to make work easy for Photoshop. So if you're not using Photoshop 2020, this option might not be there, or it might be different. You just have to make sure you select the image, whichever way you're using. So let's select this area where the subject is. So this is gonna do a pretty nice selection. So let's see. The selection is a bit nice, although we still have some gaps here which we need to correct ourselves. So Photoshop did its own part. We are going to do our own part by making sure the selection is well done. And so this is where I'm going to stop this particular video. Once I'm done with the selection, I will come back again. Okay, so